Hey guys, here's my quick and dirty review of my new Epiphone Les Paul Special. This is the new Inspired by Gibson line. These are made in China. They were just launched this year. I understand they're not widely available by the big box retailers stateside yet, but are coming out soon. There are two stores in Toronto, one big chain and one little mom and pop place that has started carrying it. And I bought it from the big chain because they, the one they had in just impressed me more. So it was $565 Canadian, I think. Really for that dollar value, I don't know. It's crazy. Great guitar for that much money. So let me sort of go over it from end to end. The body is mahogany. It's got a poly finish. It smells like poly. I don't like that smell much, but it'll fade. CTS pots, two volume, two tone, pickup selectors here, as you would expect. Two P90 Pro pickups, great sounding pickups. Originally, I was looking at the Junior because I'd plan on getting one, but I like the sound of this particular pickup better than the dog ear P90 and the Junior, which is funny because it's supposed to be the same pickup, but this is markedly brighter and more complex sounding a pickup. Let's see, let's continue working our way up. The neck is thick. Not crazy, insanely baseball bat thick, but it's a big neck. It's on the top 15 percentile of neck sizes that I've ever played, and it's quite wide. It just feels big. This is a Indian laurel fretboard. It's not rosewood. As I understand it from the research I did, there's very little difference in terms of density, feel, acoustic properties, all that kind of stuff. I did notice, and I suspect it's some residue from the manufacturing process. When I play it for a while, I get a little black residue on my fingers. It's not greasy, it's kind of oily. I imagine it's something they use to finish the fretboard. Shortly, I'm going to change the strings and clean up the fretboard with this nice Dunlop 65 lemon oil, and I'll report back on whether that gets rid of the problem. So continuing our way up towards the headstock. This is the new headstock shape they have for this line. Apparently, Gibson fans didn't like the old Epiphone headstock. If that's important to you, I don't know. It's a nice looking headstock, and that's not just a decal on there. It looks like a mother of pearl kind of inlay in there. It's quite luxurious looking. Tuners are vintage style. They're branded Epiphone. I've played this guitar quite a few hours and haven't noticed any tuning stability issues, so they seem to be good. They're quite high ratio tuners. In other words, lots of cranks to tune, very accurate, good for precision tuning. Bound fretboard. The frets themselves are what I might call medium large, medium tall, or whatever. They're not vintage style. They're not really slim, but they're not super tall either. I would have preferred taller frets, but actually it plays quite well. So I think that's a good physical overview of the thing. In terms of one thing I should point out before I plug it into my amp here and you start to hear it plugged in is, for some people, not me, but for some people, there's this belief that to get a great sounding guitar, you need a great deal of resonance in the body. You know, unplugged, it needs to be really, really resonant. This is the most resonant unplugged electric guitar I've ever played, like solid body guitar. It is loud, it sounds balanced, low and high notes, all strings. So if it matters to you, and it doesn't to me, you would be impressed when you play this immediately if you got it down and played it with how incredibly resonant it is. I guess it's the lightweight, it's the materials. One other thing I should mention, I mentioned the thick neck, I didn't mention how stiff it is. It's very stiff neck. The tuning stability can, unlike some thinner neck Gibsons that I've played, you tune it sitting down, you stand up and it's out of tune. This is a very, very stable neck. This is apparently a Graphtec nut. It's white, so I don't know. I'm not up to speed on the latest things with the Graphtec materials, but apparently it's a good nut, for what that's worth. So I'm going to pause now, and then I'm going to plug it into my little Mesa amp, and I'll demonstrate a little bit about what it sounds like. I'm recording with this nice blue Yeti, highly phallic shaped microphone. So if that matters to you, that's what I'm using. All right, I'll be back in a second once I'm plugged in. Okay, hey guys, we're back and we're ready to go. So the first thing I want to do is I want to prove to you These are indeed genuine P90 pickups and not humbucking pickups disguised to look like P90s. Because we all know that the reason why people buy P90 guitars with P90s is really two reasons. The first is because we love that bold, complex, powerful tone that they generate. And the other is because we all love 60 cycle hum. So I've turned off everything I can think of in this house to try and, that might be a likely candidate to generate hum. There's no dimmers on, there's no fluorescent fixtures on. I didn't unplug the fridge because I don't want the food to go bad. And the furnace is still on, so that could be part of it, but here, listen. So if you are expecting a dead quiet experience with your pickups, shame on you for even considering P90s, because this is part of I mean, if you think Strat pickups are noisy, just try these things. Anyway, I'm plugged in through this scandalously cheap no-name cable that I got on Amazon for $12 into this Meza Express 525, both channels set on 5 watts. I don't normally play dead clean with this rig. I'm just going to tilt it here so you can see what I'm doing with my hand. But just because I love you guys, I'm going to do a quick clean, what's it sound like clean kind of demo. So everything up to 10, and I'll just cycle through the pickups. First of all, here is neck alone. It's kind of a woody tone to it. Almost, there's something almost Stratty about it. Not that different from the bridge pickup on a Strat in my estimation. It's a little woodier, a little darker, but it's in that same territory. Here's both pickups. Let's do here is bridge alone. If you'd ever do that with tone wide open, you'd have to be insane. As far as the tone controls are concerned, I'm really impressed with them in terms of their range and linearity. So I don't know how well you can hear that, but they seem, no matter where, you know how some lower end guitars, tone circuit, tone pots seem to just kind of, you have tone or you don't. This has throughout the whole range of movement of the tone knobs on both sides, you can affect the sound in useful ways. So that's the boring old clean sound. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to my crunch, which is what I use for most of my rhythm playing and some of my lead playing. So here is wide open neck pickup. Very nice. There's enough highs and enough brilliance there and enough an absence of muddiness that it's a really very useful lead pickup. And then, of course, everybody loves the sound of these pickups through a crunchy amp on the bridge. And if I back down the tone a little bit, you get something that's very, very usable. So now let's go to my higher gain channel. Now I have not really optimized this for this guitar yet in terms of tones, so I'll probably play with it a bit more to make it a little bit less, you'll hear. So here is bridge wide open. I want to point something out at this stage. Other than the fact that the guitar is out of tune, this is not loud. There's a ton of sustain from this thing. I don't know if it's the simple construction of the wraparound, the very rigid neck, the very resonant body, but there's just a ton. Things just go on forever. Anyway, let's show you the neck pickup. Let's go for a bit of a woman tone now, maybe. Things like pinch harmonics come off it beautifully. So I would say, that gives you an overview anyway of what it can do. I've found, and again, I've only had this guitar for about a week. Every time I pick it up to play it for a minute, I wind up playing it a bit longer than I had originally planned, just because it's so much fun. On every amp setting, every pickup combination, every range of tone and volume control settings, there are useful, fun things to play with and things to discover. It's just I just think it's insane that there's a guitar that's this much fun for this little money. It's not perfect. The fretwork's got there's a fine little places where there's a couple places where there's a little bit of kind of not perfect. It's not an Anderson, but I mean, it was under $600. I'm not sure I love this this wraparound bridge. I just don't like the look of the strings as they go around the back end of it. They look like it's going to be a place where strings might break one day. So I am going to get an aftermarket wraparound bridge here to replace this guy, because that's going to be, if I'm going to use this at gigs, I don't want strings breaking all over the place. But other than that, I mean, it's really hard to find any fault with it. So check one out. If this is what you're after, if you want kind of noisy, brash, rock and roll kind of guitar for the dollar, I just can't imagine you can do any better than this. Anyway, hope you like that. See you next time.